Donkey Kong is back, folks, and after 26 years, we're finally getting a Donkey Kong 3D game. This natural successor to Donkey Kong 64, Donkey Kong Bananza, is coming out this July. And man, there are a lot of secrets out there, Jonathan, and we are going to jump into it. Is the Kong family involved in this game? Is King K. Rool the main villain? Is Pauline in this game as a little kid? There's so many questions out there, so we're going to jump in. Let's get bananas.
First things first, the game looks incredible. A lot of really good looking scenery and different styles of terrain and things like that. And as Donkey Kong, you get to destroy the entire terrain. A lot of like punching through walls and through ground and stuff like that. It looks like a lot of fun. Off the bat, we don't know who like the real villain is. They show a couple of villain or boss fights in it. It looks like this Void Co, who's something to do with the mining of Banandium, which is like these crystal bananas that everyone's after. So that's what they're showing us right now. But King K. Rool could very easily be behind this. We've seen this before. King K. Rool obviously is the tried and true villain to the DK series. And personally, I think a lot of people are not in touch with that because the last two 2D Donkey Kong games, we didn't see King K. Rool at all. But he's been in Smash. He's been in some of the sports games. So I'd love to see him back. What do you think, Os?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think King K. Rool is in this. I don't think they're going to show us that until the game comes out. I think that's going to be like a little twist into the game because this whole, we haven't really gotten King K. Rool as the main villain since Donkey Kong 64. And, there's a lot, it's funny growing up, that game was so cool. And, he had the yellow cartridge, you had the clear green in 64, such a banger. But there's actually a lot of like, kind of like mixed reviews about that game out there. But one thing is true, and I will stand by this. That game ended where you're in a boxing ring and you're fighting King K. Rool is super dope. And I don't think that they can go this long without bringing him back. I mean, like, why would they put him in Super Smash Brothers and all that stuff if they're not going to use him down the road? I think Donkey Kong Country had a different flavor to it, and they weren't ready to bring him back. But I think being the first 3D game out of the gate in a long time, he has to be in it. I think he's kind of pulling the strings behind this Void Co. I think he has some plot agenda to get this Banandium and like take over the Kongverse or like get revenge against Donkey Kong. Maybe this is, I'm going to throw it out there. There's a lot of crazy like multiverse like theories out there on Reddit about Donkey Kong and like the Kong family. But I'm going to like throw it out there. I think this may be like an actual sequel to Donkey Kong 64. Okay. And I think that he's getting revenge on the Kong family after all this time. And, obviously you have to stretch your imagination a little bit because the animation is different and everything. But I think that's what's happening here. And I think the timeline is a little wonky. I think people expect it to be like all these years have passed since we got something, but like there's really no set timeline in Donkey Kong. So I literally think that, and this is going to feed into the Pauline thing we're going to talk about, but I think that direct sequel to Donkey Kong 64, he's getting revenge for how it ended, and it was how he was humiliated in 64. And then I think like he's trying to take over the world through this like special power that the Banandium apparently has, but we don't really know what that is yet because the footage doesn't really show you. We just show that it like gives Donkey Kong some type of like extra strength or boost or whatever. But I think there's something to do with the kid who we think is Pauline in this cover art, and I'll let you speak to that. But I think that King K. Rool, there's a reason for that, and I think she's connected to some like larger like power or family or something that King K. Rool's behind the scenes after. So what do you think of the Pauline thing? Like, let's talk about that.
Yeah, so I think we got a little tease from a leak from the Korean Nintendo website where the box art would normally show that little purple rock guy on top of Donkey Kong's shoulder. They actually had some version of Pauline on his shoulder. And it's hard to tell whether it's like little kid Pauline or Pauline just while she's younger. That's all speculation. But she also was wearing the purple rock kind of as a bracelet. And so people are obviously thinking about, what this has to do with the story. Where's the story going to go? But we know that we saw some singing elements to the rock in the Treehouse gameplay. So that lines up with Pauline. And we don't know if those two are the same or they're partners, but there's obviously going to be a Pauline element in the game. And then obviously we saw Cranky Kong as well. So we're going to get a chance to see some other characters in the game. Pauline, Cranky. Hopefully we get a chance to see the rest of the Kong family. What do you think, Austin?
I think the Kong family is 100% in this game. Cranky is only the tip of the iceberg. I think Cranky's typically been kind of that like lonesome wise counsel that you get, especially in the Donkey Kong Country games. But I think I mean, even on like a bare minimum, Funky's always been there for like a shop, and you can like get stuff from him. So maybe we have something like that. I mean, we don't really know exactly where this like mine and like this world is within like the entire Kong universe, because the footage really only shows that initial city and that kind of stuff. So I definitely think Funky's in it. But I mean, you can't have a Donkey Kong. I mean, how many years has Diddy been in a Donkey Kong game, and we haven't really been without Diddy for a very long time. And we even in the Super Mario movie, we got a tease in that scene where him and Mario were fighting, like Diddy and them were in the crowd. Diddy and I think Funky or Chunky,
Chunky.
And then obviously we had Cranky, and and Dixie was in there as well. So I think we're definitely getting those. I don't know if we're gonna get the entire Kong family like we did in 64, because I mean that had Lanky, that had Chunky, that had Dixie, that had Diddy, and that was quite a bit. But I think on a bare minimum we have to have Diddy in there. And I could see Funky being there as well. But I think the bigger question for me is that like, how will they play a larger part into the story? Because I think this could potentially be like with my King K. Rool theory, like, you know, is there like an extra playable element to this game to where you're unlocking like extra players at the end? You know, and I know there's, you know, kind of the counter argument there of like, well, the footage is showing Donkey Kong just beat the crap out of things and bust open, like that's his power. But there was different powers in Donkey Kong 64 and different elements there. And so I'm going to kind of go out on a limb and say there's extra unlockables towards the end of the game, or maybe at the end of the game, you unlock different players and then you can go back to the game and you can play as those. I mean, it's always been, I mean, at least from the track record that we've had, unless Nintendo's changed their mind in 25 years, like, I feel like that there's going to be something there where we get, because I mean, when's the next time we're going to get a Donkey Kong 3D game? Like, this is something that I've been planning for a long time.
I really hope you're right, Austin. I think you're right. Like when we see the gameplay, they're very much highlighting the fact that Donkey Kong is who he is, and he's crushing these rocks, he's crushing through walls, the ground, whatever. And obviously no other character is going to have the similar ability, but I think that there's definitely room for like smaller sections or different paths that someone like Diddy or Cranky or Dixie can take to get through a level, or to do like a small, you know, little challenge or mini game or separate room and do something with a different power. I think that's totally doable, and that would be like right on par with, you know, these fun 3D games. You know, a lot of people are speculating who's the developer of this game. A lot of people would speculate the team that did Mario Odyssey. And if you think back to that game, in most of the kingdoms, they had like these small sub areas where you don't get to use Cappy, and so the game's a little bit different. I think that could be an element of this game where you're Donkey Kong in the main world, but if you find a sub area, you get to tag in, you know, Diddy or Cranky, who has a slightly different power, and you can kind of, you know, maybe it's a platforming thing or whatever. But I think that's really cool. Regardless, man, this game looks really fun. It's really exciting. We don't have to wait too long. It only comes out about a month and a half after the Switch 2. It's most likely going to be a day one pickup for me. I'm really excited for it. I would like to see a little bit more, but from what I've seen so far, I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to get a direct specifically for this, just like they're doing with Mario Kart World. I think there's something in the next couple of months we'll get more specific footage around this, or at least another trailer or gameplay trailer. So maybe some of these things that we're theorizing could be revealed, but only time will tell. We would love to know what you think out there about this game. Are you excited for it? Like Donkey Kong 64 was such an epic game, has a lot of nostalgia around it. So are you excited for another game like that, open world Donkey Kong, like Mario Odyssey? Like, what are your theories out there? Do you think the Kong family is going to be in this? What are your thoughts about Pauline or King K. Rool? We would love to know your theories down below. So please like this video, subscribe to our channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss another Nintendo video from us. But until next time, we're Fandom Fix. See ya.